Call the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting to order. Have myself and Co-Chair Fields here. The minutes of April 15th. Commissioner, anything?
No.
Nope. Reports. We have personnel and HR.
Good afternoon. Evening. That's true. Good evening. Okay, for the report for the month of May, for the Human Resources Department, been focusing on the employee relations, administrative tasks, compliance, reporting, benefits administration, onboarding, risk management, workers' compensation, and just to update that the summer youth program will be starting soon. For the departments, we have a total of 65 employees, and no one is on medical leave or anything of the sort. And I did make a chart per city manager to show like the vacation per departments, like the total of vacations plus what was used for the month from April to. Yes, it's.
Good information.
No problem. We also have one new resume that came in from last month to this month for the finance director position. And last month, we did speak regarding the process, policy, and procedure for like the evaluation, so I did include that as well for your review, the employee evaluations that we discussed last month. So, correct. Like, you guys asked for the policy, the procedure, so it is included in there as well. It's not? You sure? Well, I sent it to you. You didn't have the, even the resume? All right, well, I have it in my stuff. I send it, so I'll forward it.
And I'd like to mention, there may be a revision to that anyway. Those are some of the things that I've been trying to get to be sure that, I mean, that's what was in the policy when I got here, and I haven't had a chance to really get through those yet.
Valuations you're concerned. Okay. All the public works employees and the Department of Safety, Public Safety too? Okay. 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 Commissioner Fields. Okay, carry.
That concludes the human resources.
Okay, just one question. Did we get the, for the grass cutting, is that job description, did it go out, city manager?
No, we didn't do a job description for grass cutting. Right now, we're basically using the contractors that are doing the grass cutting.
Oh, okay.
So this is a lots, what all this include? Because I know you had different groups of cutters, for lack of,
Yes, what we've done is, we started last year, we prepared a list of the properties in certain blocks that are owned by the city. We assign those to contractors that are cutting to do those first. As soon as they cut and report back to us, we send people out to inspect to see that they've done the job properly so that we'll be able to pay them timely. But that we do on an ongoing basis just to see, keep up with what's going on and so we can keep them paid.
who are, through the chair, who are the hired parties for that? And can you tell me what happened with Bowers?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
Who are the hired contractors that we have? And can you tell me what happened with Mr. Bowers? Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I believe so. Mr. Bowers was sent the same letter we sent to everybody that had indicated an interest in cutting grass, and he responded that he wasn't interested.
Okay, and so who do we utilize?
We've got about 5 different ones, and right offhand, I don't know the names, but I can get that for you, too.
To the full commission. Thank you, City Manager.
That concludes my report.
Is on the HR personnel. Yes. Oh, your feet, okay, well, and
I just have a question. I know you guys just got done talking about summer employment. We don't ever do job descriptions and stuff for summer employment? Is it just not for summer, for those contractors? Is this something new that'll be starting, or is this?
No, we don't do job descriptions. We basically have them bring us their insurance that covered and name in the city as additional insured. And we, if they've got employees, we ask them to provide workers' compensation documents, so we have them, but that's it.
And then my other question is, for anybody doing contracted work, I know with the lot, you said it was like $26 a lot, or it was a low.
Believe our first cut is, I believe that may be about right, and second cut is cheaper. But we increased it this year a bit to allow for the fuel.
Okay, and then Mr. Bowers, as it was indicated, he was given that information. I seen where he turned it down and still wanted information. Okay, thank you.
And so, yeah, along with Commissioner Henderson, for clarity, because if I recalled, I know during the meeting with Nicholas Gunn, what is Nicholas Gunn's title exactly again?
This doesn't have a title, he's a contract employee.
Doing what? I mean, like, what is the title he's under, or how would we reference him for that matter?
It's a contract with the city manager for the purpose of maintaining the city's Facebook worksite and other assignments related to that, keeping the information out front for people.
And what was his rate again, and how is that
$300 a week.
a week? And then for the grass cutting, for clarity, and where is this listed in the agreement? Can we get a copy of what is sent out? Can that get sent to us? He said he
We
sent
can get
something out, and that's how when Bowers denied it.
We can get
Did you
that
hear
for
that?
you.
With the amounts, because that's why Bowers,
6 for the first cut and 18 thereafter, I believe.
because I thought you
That's
told
right.
me 20.
Yeah.
So it's 26. Do you have
I'll
a-
get the information for you and send it to you, so you got it right.
would be nice for us to know something or things at the meetings, right? So that even if it was a cheat sheet or if we could pull it up somewhere, that's what I'm asking too. I'm asking our city manager, so that because we just look real confused. I don't know if it's just me, but whatever price you decided, however you decided it, what is it? And I don't know if we can take a 5-minute or something for we can at least have clarity on that before we're going forward. People are asking me about bidding and things of that nature. I can't even give them amount. That's in all fairness.
There is no bidding. We sent the sheet out. I can't get those now because the people are gone, my people that work with it. But I'll get that for you, exactly what we sent out to them, sample.
We can answer that. We texted Kiara to get that information.
Okay, good.
So it's 6 people that have been hired so far, and it's $26 for the first cut and then $20 after for every other cut. Yep, and so Kiara was saying that you can come down to City Hall. She has a contract, but you have to have insurance for yourself, and if you have employees, then you have to have workman's comp and insurance for them. And once they bring all that proof, she gives them a contract and make copy of everything. So we have 6 people that she said is hired so far, and she sent me the names. I'll share them with you.
And then, did you have another question for him? Because this is along with like HR. So can we have the status on the RFP for the forensic audit?
Not gotten a chance to do anything yet on preparing RFP for the forensic audit. We've been totally consumed with getting budget, trying to get this loan completely packaged and so forth, and the other stuff is going on.
When we passed that in the commission, wasn't it immediately, right away, or was it after something else was completed? I'm asking for clarity.
I would have to look up the actual motion.
Okay, we have time. I mean, I'm sorry, there's time for that. I could ask about some other things. So, or did you have? Okay, and I will, so while we're waiting for that, if we can go back to the grass cutting. So it's not a bid, it is a contract, if you will, so they can come in to apply. And then now we're clear that it is 26 the first cut, 20 going forward, and they need to have insurance, they need to be insured themselves, and they have workman's comp insurance. And then they're doing or informing employees in regard to the city tax. Is that information in there for them too?
They're all aware of that, and I believe we got that in their contract.
Okay.
The resolution stated request for immediate authorization to issue.
So I do have a question in regards to just being respectful when resolutions or anything has been created. So there is no one out of your staff to assist with that because,
No, there isn't.
so even though it was asked for immediate, you decided not to do it immediately. It's basically what you're saying right now.
It wasn't a matter of deciding not to do it immediately. It was a matter of having to get these things done that are that are before you right now, that are already on a timeline.
Just speak on that. I think we voted on an outside source or something. Clerk, was that true? I think.
The full motion is suspend the rules and make a motion to request for immediate authorization to issue an RFP for the forensic audit services to be conducted by an independent third-party firm that has no prior or current conflicts of interest with the city.
And just to the city manager, how much does the estimate one of those forensic audits cost?
Depend upon the language that's put in it. If it's limited to, for example, to just the credit card issue, you might be looking at 20,000, 25. But if it's left expansive, open, it could be $40,000 or $50,000. It just depends.
And do we have funds for that?
No, we do not.
Commissioner Henderson.
I just have a question, going back to personnel. So 2 questions about the park attendants. Have those been hired to start collections for the beach? And I had a suggestion in terms of having those park attendants clean those bathrooms at Union Field down on the river as they drive around. That could be added to their job description, making sure that the bathrooms are clean, because all they're doing is driving around the parks. But is somebody hiring? Have they been hired to secure funding for the beach? Because I think one year we raised, what, 100 and some thousand in collections, making sure that that is done at the beginning of the summer for that park, and then the new parking spaces that had, I think there was a charge by the river, a parking meter was put down there, just making sure that those collection places are set up, or if that has happened.
We've hired the people that are getting set to do their training, so they'll be able to get out there in the next couple of weeks. I intended to use some of the youth that we have employed over the summer to do some of the cleaning and stuff like that, and actually monitoring those bathrooms so we can leave them open, because we don't want to just leave them open without somebody there with the responsibility to keep an eye on them. Otherwise, we're going to have damage.
Yeah, but if the park attendants are there, that's part of their role, and I mean, we should be able to track the car, so we'll know that they're just going in a circle, making sure that the bathrooms are clean. That's an extra set of eyes, and it's hopefully an adult. They'll be 21 and older. The kids can help during the day to make sure.
Yeah.
But those park attendants, they can go, get out, walk, to make sure if it's clean, we need paper towels, soap, or whatever. But we should not be paying at this point for porta potties in our parks. Because we do, I mean, there was an investment to make sure that the bathrooms, I understand, but that should be a part of that rotation where they're driving around.
And it is. It is part of
Sure
it.
that, and they can get out.
Yeah.
And check the bathrooms to make sure that they're clean and there's not,
We can make sure they do that. Yeah, they're already going around the parks because I'm asking them to keep an eye out for if people are parking on the grass or anything like that, or dogs walking along and people not picking up behind them and that kind of thing.
And my last question is about city income tax. What is the collections looking like?
Finna talk about
terms
that
of-
next.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet?
No, she finna-
Oh,
But that was a good idea, Commissioner Henderson.
And
Go ahead, Commissioner.
do I remember? And I can, or if I can remember correctly, and maybe, someone else can like refresh my memory, Commissioner Henry, or even, Commissioner Henderson, at one point, the police did the enforcement at the beaches before it was then, and I'm just,
we didn't have a system, only the parking thing. And there was nobody really, enforcing it, the police, not really.
No, we had parking attendants, a couple of years back, we had, but this last year, we didn't have very many parking attendants at all. We had one young man that did it religiously there for several weeks, but he started late and he left early.
so, I'm sorry. I can't. So I would like for the job description that you have created for the park attendants or whatnot to include what Commissioner Henderson has said, because that would do a couple things at one time. And then actually Commissioner Isom asked and was recalling in regards to Vikshanda Newbern. And we know you met with her. She's from Michigan Works, and they were going to have some kids. It's not a summertime. It is for so many weeks because it's considered to be a job experience, because they're hoping that they could be hired on. But Mr. Gunter is not here anymore, but he kept people in rotation. So when someone ended, he had another one. So until he ended up securing funding to pay someone, and even when he did, I think he had somebody that could only be there for 4 hours, and then he utilized Michigan Works. They've helped with the garden, all of that, and again, they're to age 24. And you get to screen them and decide, and then the case managers are community members, so it's Timothy Nichols, it's Larry Carter, Vic Shonda, Newbern, and they might have had a new person, but I would like, do you have an update on regards to that? You met with her and what happened?
And I've got papers that we're preparing right now to go back to them to get started. She reminded me that this isn't an actual work experience program, it's a training program, but we can fit that in with what we're trying to do. Get the young people some hands-on training and experience with what they're doing.
So what,
But we'll mix that in with what we're doing with the regular summer youth program, and what I'm also hoping to get with the youth corps group that comes in from out of town.
Commissioner Adams.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess I lost on where we are, but I heard the word audit, and I have a question that I would like to ask.
We're on HR right now.
No, I heard.
Personnel.
The audit, though. The commissioner mentioned the audit. I just have one question in regards to it, and that's the cost. If there's a cost that one audit was just finished and another audit is about to begin, and they have requested a forensic audit, can't that funding from the old audit take the place of and contribute to an audit that needs to take place anyway? I mean,
Different.
with an extra cost, I'm sure. Because it's going to be extra if the ones that do the audit on a yearly basis is paid.
They'll still have to do that.
Okay, why is that? I guess
That's because the government requires it in the Single Audit Act. Any entity
Okay,
receiving.
okay, so as legislators, and y'all have to forgive me for laughing because that's what we are. And I keep hearing a lot of stuff over the past 8 years that I have helped to spearhead and brought to fruition, and the same questions keep coming about that we tried to address then. And it's okay. We're taking care of business. But again, my question is, as legislators, we can work with the state. They're working on giving us loans and stuff to have to pay back. So why can't we address that matter right there with them to save the city of Benton Harbor something? Just
City manager. City
I
manager.
mean, it makes sense to me.
As I said, the regular audit will be required in order to meet the state and federal requirements. The basic difference between them is that for a regular audit, they have a set of guidelines and standards that are set that include testing a certain percentage of various transactions randomly to be sure that they're meeting the requirements as far as process. But when you talk about a forensic audit, you're talking about somebody going through and picking up
Yeah.
every single
Yeah.
piece
Okay.
of paper and whatnot, and that gets very, very
Yeah.
time-consuming and
Tedious,
very
yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there because if we strap for cash, we should be trying to save every dollar that we can.
Thank you,
As
Commissioner
a
Adams.
taxpayer, I'm still concerned.
Good. We'll move on to city income tax.
Perfect. For the city income tax, today, we're still processing individual and business income tax return. It is slowing down some as far as returns coming in. However, I'm still processing the returns. The deadline was on April the 30th, and the deadline to receive your refund is June the 15th. So I've been trying to do the tax returns with the refund first. So therefore, I can make sure that that deadline is reached. After June the 15th, that's when you get interest charge for your refunds not being refunded in a timely fashion. For the income tax comparison, and it goes from year to year. So from April 2025 to April 2026, we're down individual returns 19%. Withholdings is down 29%. The total deposits is down 26%. Refunds are up 29%, and revenue is down 23%. And as you are aware, like the last couple of months, it's been an increase. So it just really depends when the tax returns actually come in and when they don't from year to year. And as I stated, it seemed like this year, a lot of people waited until the deadline in April to actually file their tax returns.
Keeping up pretty good with.
I mean, the
returns?
best as I can.
I'm sure you're doing a great job, great job. So with the returns, the individual returns down, you still have a whole lot, many more to come in, right?
That's correct.
Any questions, Commissioner Fields?
What is the, so with that amount of returns not in, like, what is the, is down that percentage? So could you put that in numbers for me, how many people are in dollar amounts?
So the dollar amounts are listed.
No, I'm saying dollar amounts of outstanding
Well, I
collections.
wouldn't know until I actually complete the tax returns that currently need to be processed.
Okay.
So I still have tax returns that I'm still in the process of.
Commissioner Henderson, can you repeat that question?
Yeah, I
And
was
so
just
that-
asking what the dollar amounts of the withholdings that we could actually collect this year and from last year, the actual dollar amounts for the last few years that people owe the city and have not paid.
Oh, I don't have that.
Is there is an amount, right?
There is an amount that comes with the compliance part of it. Like, when I do compliance, I do that report to put those numbers into action, but however, I'm not doing compliance. At this point, it's processing tax returns, so I don't have that number in front of me.
So then my follow-up question is, are you the only person in that office that's doing?
Yes, ma'am.
So why isn't there somebody in there doing compliance? Because compliance is a huge part of collections.
How many roles do you play again? How many jobs do you have? Titles?
So for personnel and finance director,
Finance director.
We had,
there needs to be somebody in that office helping doing
we
compliance.
had a job out for compliance.
Is that
No,
on
no,
ice?
no, that's
That's
different.
what's missing.
No, that's different. The
No.
city income tax is separate
For
from
com-
finance.
It is, but
Is tell us the compliance part of it. Could you, the
So as
job,
I stated, like, plenty of times before, normally for any city that have the city income tax department, it's 24 cities. In every city, they have at least 3 or 4 people in just that department. One just for compliance. It's only just myself in that department. So therefore, doing multiple jobs. So I do the best I can. And as I stated, like right now, I'm just processing tax returns because that's what I have time to do. So after that, then that's when I get into compliance. But it is several steps in the compliance process. So even when I start compliance, it's not fulfilling everything that can be fulfilled as far as the compliance goes.
okay.
Commissioner Fields?
Chairman, you won't just go past that?
Say something.
I'm just saying when I wanted to just, for reference, again, what are your titles? Again, so you do city income tax, risk management,
Human resources, and workers' comp.
So
did you have a follow-up?
Oh, Commissioner Henderson?
Commissioner Henderson.
That job was out, code compliance, the compliance job was for the taxes. It was a job description out. I think we put that on hold. The city manager we put it on hold. Or was it
So-
still out there?
Well, it was two separate positions. So it was a position for the income tax specialist, which is basically an assistant to assist in those duties per se. But at one point, there were another job description just for a compliance person that at that time we were discussing that someone in the police department can do a split job. I'm not really for sure what took place, but it never happened. So there's no one other than myself doing.
So I think it would be official that it would benefit the city to have this position out there
But
to
it's-
collect.
Yes, it's revenue, it's, yes, to produce revenue, correct. It doesn't have to be full-time.
City manager?
It just has to be a consistent person.
Right.
That, because you can't, and when you do like city income tax, you can't have a non-consistent person, like someone just come over 1 or 2 hours. It has to be a consistent basis to make sure that everything is lined up and nothing will fall like through the cracks.
And what I'm hearing, day-to-day operations?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I thought so. I'll wait, because Ms.
City manager, you want to weigh in?
Actually, as I mentioned earlier, we're dealing with a total budget situation that includes income tax because right now, out of your income tax, you've got, I believe, let me just double check. Ron, isn't it 500,000 we pay out of it for the bond issue, and then there's another amount besides what we have to set aside for refunds? There's another little amount in there.
500, that's reserved for refunds for people, that file late, that need a refund. And the bond issue, the last few years has been 900,000, and it's going to approach $1 million.
And you see, when you take those amounts and add them up, you find that the income tax is really part of the overall situation we've got financially. We're reaching over into income tax to do things like we're talking about with the Medic One situation, which will run an additional $156,000 a year.
I'm sorry, with all due respect, I'm getting confused. So you weighing in, my point of asking you to weigh in was, isn't income tax, which is the money we're using, important to get all of it as much as we can, but we don't have a support staff? Could that be a yes or no? Because I'm getting lost, and this was my question.
Yes or no what?
Wouldn't it be vital to unfreeze and to get some support for the income tax for just this area? How long have you been doing this alone?
Since inception.
And my
No,
point
we had a
is,
person
hold
in
on,
there
city
early
manager.
part of
And my
last
point is that we have great details when we're asking about when we're talking about collecting for water and things of that nature. We should have really more energy to replenish or get as much as we can off of the fund we're living off of, or we're surviving off of. And so she's collecting enough for us to get, 1.7 million within a year. Imagine if she had help, what we can get. This 1.7 million, remember, it was 450, it was 800,000, and then it was 450. So imagine how much more we could have if she had support. So is that not a valid question? I mean, a valid statement is what I'm asking you?
It could be,
Could be? Okay.
yes.
Administrator Galladay, how much was that job salary for the compliance officer or whatever?
The code enforcement.
For the compliance
Yeah.
or for the income tax?
Income tax,
special?
yeah.
I believe it was 40,000 a year, if I'm not mistaken.
That can be paid out of the income tax.
Yeah, can
Because
we,
it'd be good to get them funds that's out.
my suggestion is, in order to increase our collections, y'all, this is like a no-brainer. We need somebody in that department, even if it's part-time. even if it's during a busy tax season from March to June, even if it's not the whole time, just to maximize collections. Because if the state is saying we need to increase our collections in the water, we definitely need to maximize collections. Because if you're doing returns and not doing collections, which is a part of the overall system that we living off of, we need to increase that. So Chairman, just like we collecting these, we need to hire somebody for
Shoot.
that compliance, at least part-time, even if we
Skip.
can't pay the full $40,000. Do from March to April or March to June, when income tax season is over, so one person can focus on collections and compliance for the year past. We need to increase our collections.
We can do that, and it's
City
probably worth
manager,
a try.
hold on.
Yeah.
I totally.
Rhonda, you want to say, weigh in?
Because my question is right here.
We have had budgeted the last 2 years, a part-time person contracted at $30,000 to
Okay.
help us in assisting to increase revenue for income tax. So that has been included the last 2 years at least, Lisa?
Okay, is that besides what?
Hold on. So, finish what you're saying, Ms.
Yeah,
Rhonda.
this was a person that was going to be dedicated to finding the people or the revenue that the city is missing in income tax.
What?
And that did not ever come to fruition, but it had been budgeted at least the last 2 years.
Really?
So,
That-
Really?
yeah, it was in the budget.
Yeah, we had quite a challenge finding somebody. We hired one person, and that person was there, how long was that last lady there, Lisa?
It was different than the part-time person. That's a
Yeah.
clerical person
Yeah.
that was dedicated to helping with the processing.
Yeah.
And the person that we had budgeted the last at least 2 years was strictly compliance, to go out, to find the businesses, find the contractors, find the people that should be paying income tax that aren't.
Get that position filled, please.
May I please?
Hold on, let us wrap this up first.
No, this is.
No, we have
City
to
manager,
Chairman.
let's, to bring in revenue for this city, which the
Chairman.
state want us to do.
Chairman,
Let's fill this position to help collections of the taxes. Let's get this position filled now.
I'd like to know if the city of Benton Harbor is aware that, over the past 4 weeks, that Whirlpool has laid off about 400 people? Right here alone, in the city of Benton Harbor. Did we all know that? Okay, yeah, sure we did. Okay, anyway, as the legislator of this income tax, in reading the fine print, I would like to know if something has changed since then, because I specifically remember reading and studying the order of how this department was going to take place. And it had everything to do with the financial person, the finance director of that department, overseeing the person that, like Ms. Galladay herself and everybody else that,
Point that's the way it works, Commissioner.
I know that they are separate. I'm aware that they are separate, but that was the overseer of the whole financial department with our city manager overseeing it as well.
No.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't think,
okay, well, and you know what else? In regards to the city income tax that doesn't work like it's supposed to? Spending it on the purpose intended. And I'm getting a lot of complaints about people that have come in this community that agreed to have the roads fixed, to be spending their money on other things is problematic. So let's see what our attorney says about it.
Were you done with income tax? Thank you.
approval of authorization for the temporary facility.
We still on finances? Are we still on finances though? Oh.
Facilitate terms of completion of several state grants. City Manager.
Yes, what that's about is that we have several grants, they're named in the resolution, that basically require us to pay the vendor and then submit the package to the state with a copy of the canceled check showing that they've been paid in order to get reimbursed. The city's general fund does not have the money to pay these bills and wait to get reimbursed. So we're asking to use what money is available, which again is income tax, but we're not using it to keep it. It's simply being loaned, and as soon as the checks come in from the state, it'll go right back into income tax. But that's what's occurring. The only way we'll be able to completely use the funding that's in these grants within the time frame that's allowed is if we do this. Otherwise, if we're sitting waiting to get enough money to be able to pay them and get reimbursed, it won't happen within the time frame of the grant.
Commissioner Fields.
Okay. May I?
Commissioner Henry.
I understand exactly what city manager is saying on this, but my question is, what grants? I tried to look
It's-
on that,
they on
I tried to look on that little tablet, and it almost drove me crazy. It's in here now.
The clerk Moore gonna give you a rundown on that.
So it is in the resolution. It does list 4 grants. However, this is only going to cover 3 of them. The last one, number 4, the RAM grant, there's actually funds in the PPI that's going to cover that, so that does not have to be used out of the income tax. So it's the FDCVT for the police radios. The amount in the resolution's $164,834. That's actually a little bit over what it actually is. It's $164,817.85. So that'll be reflected in the final resolution to be presented. With an approximate $18,000 remaining that has to be spent on that grant. Then the other one is the FDCVT grant for the hydrants, which was $22,977.50. And then the high water grant for a total of $91,844.22.
Commissioner Henry.
Yeah, I heard her. That was good information. Everybody knows that I ask questions about AP all the time. And when I looked at that hydrant, that's been in front of us quite a lot. And when I went back to some documents that said timeline, we've not met our timeline on those hydrants. We're still paying money. That's confusing to me, and I need to go back and do some research on that hydrant. And why we're still paying money for something that should have been done some time ago. So that's just something that I'm going to have to do some research on, unless you have some
City manager.
information. City manager.
It's a combination of things. We had, if you'll recall, a grant to replace a significant number of the hydrants. But in addition to that, we also have periodically people who in cars run over and knock off a fire hydrant, and we wind up having to call somebody to replace it. And that may not necessarily be covered by a grant. We may have to pay that. We'll file a claim with insurance and whatnot, but we still wind up having to pay money on them. So it's a combination of things. Now, there are still, I believe, a few of them that are in process of getting complete the grant. Because, I forgot where there was one they were working on right here, in front of the Bobo Brazil Center just about a month ago.
Yeah. Do you know how many accidents like that has occurred in the last year or so with the hydrant?
I won't know exactly how many affected hydrants, but it was a combination of hydrants and light poles and
Yeah,
bunch of
I saw the
things,
light
yeah.
poles, but that
Yeah.
that was paid with general fund when we had light poles. And I didn't see any police reports when those kind of accidents come, and that kind of lets me know that something happened that wasn't reported to the body. So,
I'll get a breakdown for you.
great, great. So when the financial director spoke of income tax, there was a lot less money on the income tax. So when I hear residents call me and say, well, what happened to my alley? What happened to my tree? What happened to money that we said we were gonna use that income tax money for? And I have to say, well, you know, the last thing that was put on that resolution was emergencies. And that's what we've been using it for. And I'd like to see us, I don't know what we have to do, we having a shortage of money everywhere we go, including the income tax. It's getting less and less. So we need to do something for the people with their money. I know I campaigned twice for this income tax, and the last time we got it because the people realized that they could get some things done that hasn't been done in decades, and they voted for it. So now, we need to go back to the drawing board. I know that to cut trees down or do the alley is not gonna cost $1 million. But we need to do something for the people with that income tax money. If not, when we ask them again, they're going to say no, because they didn't get a fair draft on this one. So when it comes to that income tax money, we gotta really pay attention that we're getting the best bang for our dollar. And it's okay as long as we're gonna give it back to if the general fund gives it back. We've gotten money from it before and didn't give the money back. It's hard to give money back if you don't have the money, so, you know, you keep borrowing and don't have the money, it's stupid.
City manager, so these grants will all be refunded back to the city income tax.
Those payments will be refunded back to income tax.
Right. Commissioner,
Thank you. And I fully understand how that works, reimbursement of grant dollars. My question is, and we should not let emergency management off the hook. Every city that had an emergency manager agrees, and we're not going to. We're going to keep talking about it because they did harm in our communities. When we had emergency management, and I asked the question that I asked you through the chair, Mr. Little, and I got pretty much the same thing because I had did my homework enough to know the general operating costs for this 4 square miles in a year's given time. And not much has changed because he told me pretty much the same thing that you did. 6 million and some. Okay, so this was prior to all of the dispensaries. And I believe in watching and following the dollars. And see, I know that we are strapped for cash. We always strapped for cash. Because we have more waste in Marion County than anybody. Because we go to these dollar stores and buy this cheap stuff. And then we have to pay for our trucks that are broken down because we overloaded with cheap stuff.
Commissioner Adams, we talking about this
Okay,
resolution. we signing.
and I'm getting there.
Okay,
I would
okay,
like
we got
to know,
more.
I just want to basically let the record show that upon the opening of all of these dispensaries that have brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars, jobs, and businesses that pay taxes as well. Where's the money? Something is really wrong here. Because the cost to operate the city has not changed too much. Granted, there may be probably 5 or 10 people that moved away, and they probably weren't paying homeowner taxes anyway. Something is really wrong, and I think that I'm going to get great pleasure in finding out what this forensic audit looks like. And I think that it's something that should be moving right now, yesterday, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Instead of everybody pointing fingers at each other, let's put the truth where it needs to be, before the people.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Commissioner, we move this forward, this resolution. This is the, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Clerk. Number 2, we have approval of use of income tax funds to pay the first 6 months of Medic One increase. One increase.
Really? Really?
Manager?
That was the suggestion of the Mayor Pro Tem when that came up that night. As a matter of fact, if you recall, there was a rather lively discussion about the unfairness of the assessment that was being put on the city and the township. I believe ours was an additional 156,000. I think the township's was 200 and something thousand additional. And then there were a number of places that had reductions. But the Mayor Pro Tem said that we should pay the first 6 months out of income tax, and that's why the resolution is before you.
Thought that was going to be a presentation.
Everybody got it?
So,
Fields.
Chair, we talked about this in extent, and everybody felt like there was some wrong that was given to Ben Harbor when it calculated it. And Mayor Pro Tem did talk about a way to solve it. My question through the chair to the city manager, he saw the wrong in it. Did we go back to negotiate with them? Did we have a conversation with them? They were supposed to submit some stuff to us so we could see the figures and what was going on. I've not seen any of that.
City
And so
manager.
through the chair and the city manager, maybe we can get an understanding.
We have not yet anticipated that once we get these other pressing items out of the way, and since we've committed that we're going to pay the first 6 months, that we would have time to make a FOIA request to get all the information that we need and to be able to make a case.
Now, there's a timeline on this, that we're under pressure. Is it May, June? When is that date?
Until June 30, we continue paying what we have been paying. I believe it's $100,300 a year. And as of July 1, we add $156,000 to that.
Okay.
And as I said, once we can resolve our pressing problem right now with cash flow and getting this loan, then we will be able to concentrate on, putting in the time to do that, to work on putting RFP RFP together for our forensic audit and the other things that we have to do.
Do we, Medic One is directly under us? I mean, we have some real dealings with them over the years. I remember when Medic One started, they couldn't have started if Benton Harbor didn't help. So, if we pay this first 6 months, are we required, are we gonna be required to keep paying this? Or do we go back to the drawing board and have a conversation with them after we pay them? I don't think so. If you give me money, I ain't gonna let you get back with anymore. So my question is, if they say they're gonna give us information so we can be solid on our decision-making about their finance, and they don't give it to us, now, some conversation has been that we have not been at the table at the meetings. The city was not at the table, and this why this timeline come up so fast on us. But I personally don't want to pay them. I want them to be in compliance with us so we'll know exactly what's going on with that money and why they made the decision for them 3 communities to get paid, to pay more, and the other rural communities who the expense of the rural is much more than the city. So I'm just not ready to lay down and take it. I'm ready to fight. And if they're not supplying us with the information, what's wrong with our attorney? She get paid a lot of money to do what? Why can't she get involved with it? And make them give us the information. But I know we're on the timeline. It's our fault because we're under the timeline. But I'm not ready to lay down without Vaseline. Thank you.
Commissioner Fields.
So, I can't quote the date that Darwin Watson came in here. And, you know, him and Little sat together, more or less, right? Thank you. And he referenced that this wasn't a new conversation, but beyond that, that was really it. However, our city manager did reference like a payment process to maybe for the first time do like 40,000, then maybe revisit this next year. That's what he said at the Personnel and Finance meeting. And Darwin said, I remember me, Commissioner Isom, we were asking questions like, can we at least get the figures? What is the data that our city manager was referencing? The next week, they voted on it. While the city manager was at the Housing Commission meeting.
It was a Personnel and Finance Committee meeting on March 18th.
And so my understanding was that at that meeting or at that time, that it was going to be some information sent. I believe Mr. Watson said that he was going to send it to the clerk. Did he not?
What I received was the spreadsheet that you all received. That's what I received.
And if I can recall, can you refresh our memory as to what you asked him for?
Sure. Well, basically, I told them that I'd like to have the information on just exactly how much was paid from Medicare and Medicaid for the number of rides that were given for in the city. I indicated I'd like to know also what the amounts were that were billed that were not paid, and I'd like to know what the income was from the county. The townships and so forth that they were doing. To tell you straightforward what occurred here, when this thing started back in the 70s, I believe, as she said, we, the city, Benton Township, St. Joe, I believe there were 10 originators that got this thing started. As it went over time and throughout most of that period, up until, if I'm not mistaken, up until now, we basically were being billed the equivalent of about $11 and something per person in the community. The other communities that came in, these townships and so forth, they were paying a higher rate per person, as they should have been, because those rides are all much longer. I mean, as I said to Darwin at this meeting, at the Mediguan meeting, you can run 20 people from Benton Harbor to the hospital, which is 10 minutes away, at probably less cost than you can run one person from some of these townships all the way up here.
And so, with all due respect, City Manager, I recall you saying this before. So this is already on YouTube for, what was it, March? And so the problem is, like, I know Shaquille, met or spoke to Jason Wiley, which I did too, right? A whole different day. I just wanted to actually see the references where it was, how long this had been going on. And then in turn, I asked him to be here. He agreed. Mr. Watson called Commissioner Isom, who didn't set up that meeting, about he didn't want Jason to come along. You already, and with all due respect, you already been here. And what are you going to say now? What can you add to it that you didn't do then, and you didn't follow through on what you said you were going to do? So I just still, when I saw you basically, and you were trying to relay that, and you said, well, I'll have them call you. And I'm like, we need to have this discussion and be able to ask questions prior to it being due. And so, just to keep it consistent, it should come through personnel and finance, or do you come to the full commission? And I don't think anybody really want to come to the full commission, right? So, I wrote Jason, though, to make a long story short, I wrote Jason with the urgency of it and just like, okay, we can have another follow-up one if he needs that. He wrote back to the extent that he was going to support his board chair, and he doesn't want to meet, he doesn't want to come without him. But this day didn't work for Mr. Watson. So Commissioner Isom was asking me if I saw an email he sent, because also too, I want to reference, because I do transparency, right? And I don't need to have anger behind it, but I was just trying to be neutral, to be brought up to speed, right? If you have these documents that our city manager has not been transparent and he didn't been at meetings, where is the information? And then come and tell us about that, right? And then we can just have that, fair insight from all parties. And, Commissioner Isom just referenced that, and mind you, when Jason wrote me these emails, he CC'd Watson. He never chimed in. So today he wrote, "Good afternoon, this is for us commissioners." Did he send it to everybody, or just me and you?
It's like, I didn't see it.
Oh, it says, "Good afternoon, commissioners." Oh, I'm sorry, Isom and Fields. My apologies, but unfortunately, we will not be able to attend the committee meeting this evening. I felt it necessary to send this email in advance of the Personnel and Finance. First, it is somewhat disappointing that there is the belief that Medic One has not been transparent in any way. The change in the funding formula has been years in the making. I'm not going to read all this, but my point is that I don't understand why. Go ahead, Commissioner Harris.
With all due respect, I don't care about no other community, but Ben Harbor. And we're not shouldn't be paying $156,000, because once we pay that, we can't go back from that, because they're going to demand that, and I think that would be unintelligent. And we need to negotiate those rates. They need to provide us with that information. We have until June 30th. Let them not provide service, and they're going to see how much media attention is going to be there.
Go.
I think just like with the schools, they're going to continue to provide services because people still can pay it. There is a formula that they're not providing us. I don't care what they're saying, they lying. And they don't want to deal with the repercussions. And we should not, and that's not what was said at the legislative committee. My suggestion was bring it back to this committee and we negotiate, not pay $156,000. I don't think we should. Because once we pay that money, we can't go back from that. That's an increase. We're paying the increase. Why would we pay 6 months of anything? And I don't agree with that, and I think we need to remove that from the agenda, because that is the easy, we all thought about that. Paying with the city income tax, that's the easy way. No, we shouldn't, they need to negotiate with us. And I think that still needs to be on the table. We need to let the city manager do his job, or the assistant city manager, if he can't do everything. Are you available to talk with them to negotiate something? Put together some charts, some formulas? There's more than one, that's why we have an assistant. So somebody need to go and negotiate with them and bring us back to the next meeting, an applicant for that office and this.
Right, right.
And that was my problem and concern rather, not say problem, but concern too was, if it's how they're portraying it, right? That
Not paying that.
the city manager has been aware for, even if it was a year, that's still long enough time to come back to the commission and report something, right? That's a problem if that's the truth, right? Because it could have been the discussion then, you could have requested the documentations, that was enough time for that. But again, I feel like to an extent that they are utilizing the empathetic portion of this, right? I agree in regards to, I just can't see them not providing medical services. First of all, they wouldn't be able to run it without us. And just being, honest in regards to with my conversation with Jason, they have already bought additional ambulance,
Oh, we
right?
pay for
And
it.
then when Watson was here, he was talking about, well, the biggest expense was having that paramedic come every time. And they were gonna work on, they got more vehicles than
So they can
Enterprise in the parking lot.
keep paying.
And so I feel like they've already done it, is what it is. Whereas when he was speaking, he said, these are things we would do and we anticipate because this is what making the ride more expensive because the medic is there in addition to the MT. And so it's just too foggy for me. And then we could have a press release to explain to our community what the holdup is. If we have to have polices picking people up it's cheaper to do overtime for the police. Let me calm down. But
And if you would allow me, I can tell you what you really need to know as to how this really occurred.
Well, then why is this, but I'm sorry.
No, just let him do it. Can somebody
finna
think
go.
about this before they answer the next question?
What the situation is,
Before.
where I stopped
This
at a
came
few
up
minutes,
before, and I'd like to know when
What
did this come up before, Rhonda?
Well,
Did this-
point of order. City manager, continue.
where I had stopped at was where I was telling you that originally there were 10 communities involved that created it. All right, there were 10 votes at that time. Over the years, between then and now, these little townships were allowed to join because they needed service. And they offered to pay to get the service. They didn't have an issue. They wanted service. But they also got a vote. And then what happened is you looked up and all of a sudden, instead of 10 communities, you got about 30 communities in there, and all of them got a vote. And they're all largely rural communities out there. And they did the natural thing. They voted their interest and against the communities like Benton Harbor, Benton Township, St. Joe, Lincoln Township. Now, that's what took place. Now, as far as the city manager, if I knew a year ago, I wouldn't have any hesitation about telling you that I knew. I got enough stuff on my plate that it could happen, but it didn't. I believe it was in November that Brian, who was the city's representative on Medic One, came to me and said, Mr. Little, they're starting discussions about a rate increase. And I'm hearing a couple of the smaller communities raising issues about how many rides take place in Benton Harbor and that they don't pay their bills. I'm not in a position to be able to speak to the money. I think you need to go. Now, next meeting I became aware of, I went. The discussion was already about, we've got to raise $2.5 million because and just like I said, I think a lot of it was already done. But they were on this discussion about different formulas to do it and so forth. The next meeting that I went to, I think there was one in between that I did not go to, but the next meeting I went to, the discussion was about the chart that was brought back and given to you all with 3 different formulas that took into consideration a flat amount. One of them was like 10,000, one was 25, one was 50,000, then plus a factor about what the SEV was for each of the communities. And of course, they didn't favor that because their SEVs are higher than ours, and they would have had to pay more. And then there was a third factor. But on those sheets that you have, in fact, if you recall, I mentioned this the last time we talked about it, you were going to look at those sheets where you would see that. And then on the front side of the sheet was all the current information, the 11-something per person that they were paying, and they were trying to get it up to 22. That's basically what was taking place, and as you said, I went to a meeting, raised the objection, and told them the city cannot pay that. I said, we need to do something different. I said, how about letting the city just pay, say, an increase of 30,000, and then we can have an opportunity to look and try to identify anything else that we might be able to do better, and maybe next time we could do a little bit more, and eventually try to get to what we need. But right now, I said, we can't pay it. We don't have the money. And like you said, next time.
It's 30 seconds.
Okay.
30 seconds. Rhonda, through the chair, when was the last increase? Because this is like the second time.
There was an increase last year. It
Yes.
wasn't as substantial as this.
It wasn't, and that's why we passed it, but it was, Mr. Watson was present then. Yeah, okay.
Do you have like a,
That's
good
what I'm
question.
asking.
So is it,
History
was it like
matters.
50,000,
History
20,000?
matters.
I'd have to go back and look.
Right.
It went up from whatever it was to 100,000.
It seemed like it was reasonable the way they talked,
But now it's another.
but this right here, this some sneaky stuff here. Something wrong with this picture.
So, I thought. So, my only issue that I'm having with this is like, city manager, that is great information. But at what point did you share it with the commission? And so what happens is you have all this information and it's not helpful for you when people say otherwise because you haven't kept the commission informed. So like even what Brian said, you should say, Brian, write that up and send, and so I can have that and I can send it to the commission. What I feel like a lot of times happen is that it almost comes off as micromanaging, but I don't want to necessarily be, using that terminology. But in whatever case, the commission doesn't end up informed because you are shouldering it, if you can understand what I'm saying. So, because when you got that information, I don't understand if you thought you were going to just resolve it, they were going to agree, then you missed the meeting, but the commission doesn't know anything. So that's what the problem, and I feel like that's what they are honing in on. Like I told you, when I went and met with Jason, it was, I couldn't, he was flipping back and forth between on this meeting, on this day, and then it went, you were checked off as present. On this meeting, on this day, you haven't given, that is similar to, and I don't want to sound like our honorable mayor with these analogies or these examples, but we all know, like, you will come home, you need to tell your mama what's going on before the teacher does, right? Or whatever the case is. We can't even back you if we don't know anything. But like, again, I was not, I had questions when he sat here and you asked questions and he was going to get some information back. I appreciate all the history, especially me, because I wouldn't have known how you guys had basically established the Medic One here. But that's how people get to play on the commission, is because we're not always fully informed. And not on old stuff from years and years ago, but what's happening now. That happened in November. I feel like that's something you could have took the time to say, hey, this is something that's going on. It might brew over. But it was, Commissioner Henderson didn't know. I don't know that Commissioner Henry referenced knowing. Nobody seemed to know but you and Brian.
And as I said to you again, that was first mentioned to me in about November. The very first meeting I went to, somewhere around January or February, that's the first that I knew of any specifics. Brian didn't know any specifics when he told me, except what I just shared with you, that they were talking about doing an increase and that there was a lot of discussion going on among a couple of smaller townships about the number of rides in Ban Harbor and the fact that they didn't pay the bills when they were due. You weren't on the commission at that time. I get thousands of pieces of information on an ongoing basis. You wouldn't have enough time for me to tell you all the different things that I hear. But when they come to the point where they have some merit, that's when I bring them to you. And I brought back to the commission when I got the information as to what they were actually doing. And then, as soon as that sheet showed up, I brought it back and shared with you what was going on with it. That's all I could do.
Clerk
Now,
Moore.
as far as the other information, what I said, I'm still saying the same thing. We're going to do a FOIA to get the information, but it's going to take time to sit down and prepare that properly to make sure we get what we really need. I don't know why people aren't getting that for the last 2 months now. My intention has been totally on getting this loan together because we're running out of money.
Clerk Moore.
I would just want to say too, with the FOIA, that's not always quick. I mean, it could take 3 weeks at least to get the information that we're asking for because they can file for an extension.
I got a question for Rhonda. So how is the payment? We pay quarterly to the, and it's 25,000? Yeah, so this is what I got from Watson. Watson is the president or director? The chair of the board, and he said the vote was taken. We didn't have, city manager wasn't there. The vote was taken to agree to the new formula, and so it passed. So, but he did tell me that on the new contract, it'll be the increase. Right now, we still in the old contract, where it'll be 25,000, will take us till September.
Through September.
That's what he told me.
What else
And he
is-
said there are no negotiations because the board voted on it. Township voted yes. And the other, they voted yes, and they got an increase. Township voted yes, they got an increase, so, and he said it's no negotiations, it's payment of 25,000 would take us to September.
That don't sound right. He give you the
I think
wrong
it's through
information.
June. And then we get billed the extra.
Don't believe him. Don't believe him. He's not our friend.
I also want to clarify that this discussion started taking place at the end of January is when they were talking about this increase, is when Manager Little went to their meeting. He did send the board packet and email to the city commission at that point in January. But But they only have monthly meetings unless they schedule a special meeting. And I believe that that's what happened when they took that vote.
There was a special meeting.
Oh, and you missed the spec.
Mr. Duncan?
I'll wait, sister was saying something.
You might want to go, because I was about to wrap it up.
Oh, okay, well, I think we've been on this conversation for a long time, and I know these ladies ready to go home, and me personally, I am too, but I like to say this about Medic One, Donald Watson, Darwin Watson. This shouldn't be happening, them raising anything on the city of Benton Harbor. And if you guys sit up there with your smiling faces and let it happen, then it's going to affect the citizens. And who else is standing here talking to you about the citizens right now? It's going to affect us in a lot of ways. You have a problem with them. They're supposed to be here. They know it's a problem. Otherwise, they would be here. So you guys say table it forever. I don't care until we get somebody until we're going to get somebody here who's going to service the citizens, because that's the main concern. But everybody's eye is on city income tax money, and I know that's what it is. I personally, this is my opinion, and I stand on it. And if you guys don't understand what's going on, I think you need to pray harder and ask somebody. Thank you.
All right, I'll send the whole commission the meeting packet from Medic, and we'll table this, get more discussion on it.
Table it for them to come to, the next personnel and finance meeting?
Got to have something in place by July, is it July? July 1st.
So since you guys are communicating more, you want to, because,
I keep both of us. I keep the Personnel and Finance Committee on the loop.
but just add
We'll-
everybody into the
Yeah,
email.
we'll table this and bring it back.
You want to bring it back to another committee so it can have another reading? Maybe by that time we'll have our FOIA.
It was in legislative
I'm
last
waiting
week.
on the FOIA now. Well, they're waiting to put it together, but it might take 6 weeks, it might take 6 months. That depends on how they drag their feet.
All right.
They want to pay us $500.
All right, we'll move it to Personnel and Finance, thank you.
That ain't enough.
Number two,
That's too far out, Chair. Chair, that's too far out, Chair.
financials, please, Rhonda.
We don't, you want to read it, you want your name? Oh, no, I have it.
Oh,
We want you to come up. Thank you. Do you guys have the financials? No? Okay. Okay. Well, it'll sound like a broken record, a hoarse broken record.
And congratulations, Grandma.
Yes, I am. That's how I got this from my other little kid. So, anyway, same thing as before, cash-wise, general fund and the utility fund. There's cash in the bank, but there isn't enough to pay the vendors. So I report it as zero in the financial presentation. The general fund did receive, at the end of April, $322,000 from the state of Michigan. It's a bi-monthly payment. We get it every 2 months for revenue sharing. So that was received at the very end of April. And that money will be used to pay some of the past due vendors, pay for the payroll and the pension payment.
How much was that again?
$321,000. It comes every 2 months from the state of Michigan. We'll get another payment at the end of June is when it'll come in. Taking a look at the utility fund past due, it's increased some to 309,000, which is about 32% of the accounts receivable balance. So really been hanging around the 30% mark for quite some time. And then the other thing, this is related to May, is the city received a grant from revenue sharing that's for public safety. And it was 209,000 that was received it was a crime grant. And all the municipalities of the state of Michigan received an amount, and the city received 209,000, which will, 25% of it has to be used for non-law enforcement activities. It has to be maybe for other items like education or even their building, their office area, and the other 75% can be used for the public safety department in funding it. So, and I think this is an ongoing grant. We should get another amount next year, but this is 209,000 that's come in May.
From the state or the government? Oh, state.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
Commissioner,
weren't sure when it was going to come in, and it came in last week.
Commissioner Fields?
So we didn't apply for it, it's just something they're sending to
The
every,
state of Michigan, statistics were sent to the state on crime, and I think working with the Michigan State Police to come up with crime rates for all the populations in the state of Michigan, and they have formulas on how they distributed it, and Benton Harbor got quite a healthy amount, so.
so how much needs to be used, how, and 20% can be used?
25% has to be used for, like, education, training, non-operational type expenses, and the other 75% can be used for public safety operations.
So if we were to do like some kind of community engagement, like an event,
I think
not
they
National
can-
Night Out, but
Right.
something,
Yeah, or I think they can also buy some
a
supplies
block
with it.
party with public safety,
Yeah.
something creative.
Yeah, there's a list of items that
Awesome.
they've recommended that.
Can you
they
share
use.
that with me? I don't know if everybody else want it.
Yep,
You want, yeah, so everyone, can you send it to the commissioners?
sure.
I didn't get that report this week, this month.
Came by paper. Pardon me?
No, I said I
Oh. Okay.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Okay.
Anybody got anything to put it? Oh, Commissioner Fields?
So, just in regards to, like, cost savings and things of that nature, and then revenue generation, so just getting your opinion, being you're our financial manager that's a joke, let me stay focused. What is, like, cuts or where we can increase money? So I just referenced the income tax, and if she had staff or someone that could support in that way, it will pay for itself and then create some revenue or more revenue for us to use the income tax fund that we're already using. And then there was, I know at some point Mayor Pro Tem referenced some like different cost cutting. Did you get the list of items and that information that he sent out?
The
Probably
Mayor Pro
not.
Tem, I
Yeah.
may have.
Do you think he sent it to her? I don't
Sometimes
think
I'm
he
on
did.
his distribution, sometimes I'm not.
Because I know one of the suggestions that, he and I actually like referenced before too was, we have a staff at the water plant, but FMV runs the water plant. How much do we pay the water plant staff? And who is it? Like how does that happen?
One person there that's on, that works for the city, and I believe her rate appears about 42 or something like that. With benefits and everything, it probably comes close to 58, 60.
So I'm at,
That's the only person there that works for us. Keep me informed of what's going on.
how much do we pay FMV to, because they're the ones that get the water together, right? That's the
Right,
only thing that's
process.
needed there. Do they provide reports to us?
Yes, so they do.
So so I guess more or less I'm asking you right now, would that be a great cost saving as a financial entity? What is your input?
It could be, yes, it could be a cost savings if there was no need to have that individual there.
And so city manager beyond, I don't know what she's, keeping you up to speed on necessarily, but that is going to be another suggestion for me. Like, I don't know if she can come from out of there and you can like do something or another, but I'm not understanding, do something or another in regards to rehousing or, replacing her, moving her to somewhere else. But I'm not understanding with how much do we pay FMV, did you say?
105,000 a month.
And I'm afraid to ask the city manager because he gives so much detail. So what does FMV do? A water plant needs to have the water chemicals, right? That's all we need over there, right?
Well, that's sort of an oversimplification. It's a lot more than that. They've got to make sure that all the equipment and so forth is running properly.
And our
that
staff
the
person does
flow
that?
is huh?
And our staff person?
No, F&V does that. That's what they're
No,
for.
but I'm asking, what does the staff do?
The staff person handles the pass-through of all purchase orders and so forth that we have to pay for out there. I don't want a contractor placing orders for us and just sending me the bills. I want a chance to look at them and have them compared through my deal and wherever else to make sure we're getting the best prices on them, to follow up, make sure that invoices are paid, to let me know when people are coming and going out
I'm sorry,
there.
I want to make a note of what you're listing.
Well,
So
why
she
don't
does
you let me
invoices.
send that to you
Okay, but I
outside
still
of
want to talk
this?
about it right now, so that way if I have questions, we won't have to do an email where you're not as busy, so you're here now. So invoices, what else does she do? Just like a job type description, real quick.
She handles the deliveries that come to the place when people are delivering stuff to, because they're there at different times doing different things. She basically handles all of the stuff for the city that we need to have handled. I'm not comfortable just leaving all of that in the hands of a contractor. We had before, I believe, 7 people out there, and we laid off all of them but the one.
And
It was my intention to.
we can't hear you, the mic.
It was my intention, once we get space fixed up at Public Works, to have her put half-time there and half-time at Public Works, because they need somebody to help handle their paperwork and so forth, too.
So she does invoices and deliveries. Get boxes
Invoices,
that's left.
deliveries, whatever is going on at the place. If there are people who come there for different things, they want to speak to somebody from the city. She lets me know when they're there, whether we want to, she can talk to them, or whether I need to talk to them, or whatever.
So again, this would be a suggestion as price saving for me. I don't know what we'll figure out in regards to this, because if we don't have money for an audit, we don't have money to get money, to collect money so that we can spend the money, this just doesn't make sense to me. And again, I asked for, I don't know what the job description is, but I just wanted to ask roughly, okay, so it's invoice and deliveries, and there was a lot of she called me, and like another personal, yet another assistant. I don't know if someone that's already here can go get a delivery. I know that that there's the option to get notifications when something is coming. And then that could be a stopover and I'm just not understanding how we don't have money for a staff to help get income tax, but we have staff to get invoices
You got
sent
one,
out.
you got one
City
person
manager,
doing
city
income
manager,
tax, you got one person doing
wanna say
all the stuff that I'm doing,
You want to say
and,
something?
and that's the case throughout it. You got one person doing different things all over the city.
Commissioner, got the floor.
So it's a lot of what is best for an individual, I guess, for lack of a better word. I'm not understanding how it's fitting the city. I'm not really sure, and it's explained however you decide to explain stuff. We just need to be honest in here. If you want somebody to be a secretary, you have a good explanation for it. If you want somebody to be understaffed, you have a good explanation for it. And at some point, it needs to make sense to be on you. Be on you. And you can't even get anybody that, you having a problem with someone asking questions. We are your bosses. And I don't even talk to you like that. But I can ask questions. I cannot agree with you. You're not my boss. And if you say, before I believe when Commissioner Henry said, well, I don't want this. Tell me where you want the money to come from. We want it to come from the water plant. You say that type of stuff, then when somebody says something to you, it's a problem. We are all smarter than a third. No, seriously, go ahead.
Commissioner Henry, first, city manager, can you send Commissioner Fields a job description?
Well,
The whole commission.
Oh, and you know
I'll
what,
do
with
that.
that too, clerk, aren't you able to, do you have the same access to the things he can send over in case he had too much other stuff?
have to get that from Lisa.
Okay, so you can get it from Lisa. Can I have you get it from Lisa so we can get it real quickly? And then I want another, which I feel like she has sent one, but I want another org chart and job descriptions, and I can go get it from her. Just let her know that for everybody. So,
I can resend that email.
because when I've asked before, I've asked the city manager, and he's explained that I'm not even understanding. We don't have CBG money, but he has a CBG staff assistant, and then but it's not enough to. I don't understand what everybody's roles are, and more than the city manager has to understand it. That's why we're in this situation right now with Medic One, because he didn't feel like it was that urgent yet, or I'm not understanding. And so, if we don't have information, or if we can't give input about income or money savings, it's a problem. That's why an evaluation is very important. So I will be providing that, and we will be having one in July. Because if you don't have expectations, or you can't, this is when this will happen. Okay, so we expect to be this communication to happen. We can expect, and anybody knows that there's been a basic supervisor. That's how you are on the same page.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to need to leave in the next 30 minutes. We do have a budget that we were going to touch
Right,
base on.
Commissioner Henry?
I'm gonna leave the history alone, and I will email all my colleagues. There's a history of what happened and how it happened, so we need to know that. So I'll share that among us, and when this comes up again, we'll have another shoe on. We won't have just one shoe on, we have two shoes on. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rhonda.
Thanks, Wanda.
Next, we have the draft loan documentation, 1 million Treasury MFA loan. So we got the draft, so.
And if I might, Mr. Chairman, just to remind, or as Commissioner Fields said, to make sure that you got all the information. And if I should remind everybody too, that about 2 months ago, I believe it was now, I sent you about a 165-page document from the Benton Harbor Housing Commission that we were all going and have to read and get through. I had to read it and put a lot of information into it, and that took up a lot of time. But this process, we have been cash tight for a long time, and I saw it getting worse and began looking for ways to try to get help. Essentially, what this loan is about is that working with Treasury, they come up with a method by which we could get a loan. Some of their provisions and legislation allow us to borrow up to 1/2 of the amount that we receive within the preceding year. And it's secured by them withholding part of the state shared revenues. I think you heard Rhonda mention that every couple of months you get a distribution sent from the state. Under this arrangement, the loan is packaged, working with Treasury, with the group PFM that we chose because there were 2 we could have gotten. And they then work with the Municipal Finance Authority, which is part of Treasury that handles this. They have regulations and so forth that set up what can and can't be done and what has to be documented and everything for all of this. What I sent you was a package that included the material that they sent to us, so you'd have a chance to see what it entails. A lot of that they do themselves. They had sent us the draft resolution. Today we got the final resolution, and I believe that's been distributed to you also. Essentially, they are asking that we have that resolution passed by the 18th, which is coming up, and the reason we wanted to be sure and talk about this tonight. I think they've allowed us until June 1 to get the budget to them. Is that right, Rhonda, June 1st? Yeah. And so we're attempting to put all of that together to meet their requirements and get it done. This was critical to us because we are running out of money, and the plan we're working on is that that money be available to us by the first week in July. In order for that to happen, these other things on this timetable have to occur, or that won't take place, and we would be probably out of cash. So that's what I basically wanted to share in regard to the items that were sent to you, and to try and answer any questions that we can.
So the payment will come straight from the revenue sharing? Do we still pay a monthly?
Well, revenue sharing comes to us, they pay that to us. And where they would normally pay, say if it were going to pay $200,000, they may send us 3/4 of that and hold part of
What
it.
did you say?
I said if they were going to, as an example, if it was going to be $200,000 they were going to send us, they would withhold maybe 1/4 of that and only send us $150 and put the $50,000 in the fund that they're holding. So that by the time a year from now comes, they would have enough money there to pay off the loan. Is that pretty much your understanding also, Rhonda?
Yeah, it starts, we'll have to pay interest for the first year. Right. And I think they're going to do that right up front. Hold that from the loan, so we don't have to worry about interest for this year.
You'll take it out of shared,
And then they'll start, it's called intercept, the 300,000 we get normally from the state will go to another bank. We'll keep a portion to pay off the loan and then send us the rest.
and that's U.S. Bank. I believe we've had dealings with U.S. Bank already, but they say that they do a very good job of doing that kind of thing.
Push your button, Little, push your button.
Questions, Commissioner, on this?
My issue is, Mayor Pro Tem has provided suggestions on ways to cut back. Others, well, I know I've suggested different things in regards to utilizing different entities such as like Vic Shiny Newborn, which is Michigan Works, and different things. And it's not the openness. It is that you really have just decided solo and then haven't responded to some of the questions and insights that our Mayor Pro Tem asked. And it is just here now is a problem for me. So I know you referenced you were cutting back. What was something you suspended? I can't even think offhand of something you wanted to put on hold, like you're freezing jobs so that, you know, you can, so money is saved. And then we're sitting here learning that the income tax staff person is a loan that could be collecting more income for us. So that is my feedback since you asked Commissioner Isom.
And Commissioner Isom, if I might just add, when I got here, the income tax person was there and they had a person out front. I don't believe the person was a person that went out to try and collect money or whatever, but there really wasn't a major change or anything in terms of when that person left. It was a while before we got to fill that position, and that person was there about 6 months ago. There was no real change in that, and then that person left. And when I talked with Ms. Galladay about whether she wanted to fill a position, she said not at that time. So nothing was done on that. But I understand what you're saying, and we can try. I think the suggestion that Commissioner Henderson made was a good one. During those months when the income taxes are being paid and so forth, to bring somebody on for a period of time there, because we're all doing dual things right now.
All right, you move that forward.
No, I don't agree.
Yeah, what y'all whispering about? I can't hear you.
They have included a resolution. Yes, that they are asking to be passed by the 18th, which would be Monday.
Now, he'll consider and maybe and if, no. Commissioner Henry has suggested different routes from banks, borrowing different ways. Again, I felt like this is another situation in regards to our city manager. This is what he wants to do. And then at times, like I said, at meetings, it's, well, if you want, or if you have another suggestion, then we provide them and they're shut down. So we are just agreeing to whatever he wants to do. So no.
Clerk, so what happens, we can't move it forward? So draft number 2, draft preliminary 26, 27.
Is the final on our computer or is it a hard copy?
You have a preliminary draft.
Draft.
Right. Doesn't have anything in it, just preliminary, just,
Just preliminary.
do we have another one that has detailed in it?
No, that's your preliminary draft. It has some detail in it, yeah.
Well, it don't show me the interest, and it shows a couple of things in here that they don't show me.
Yeah, there's
It was
little-
hard for
there's
me to
little
read
side-
it on that tablet, too.
There's little sidebars, and you have a full copy, a full physical copy as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
We gave you a lot of stuff.
This is all I got.
What a packet I gave you.
Oh, I done tore it up now. Well,
So this.
the chair, I have a problem. If I could go back to when we first borrowed money in the 70s, we borrowed money from several state entities. We didn't pay full interest, 6.5. Of course, back in the day, that was, we paid 2.3, something like that. It was a different time and era. But the state of Michigan, and we cannot lose the fact that the state of Michigan is part of our problem. They created this problem, and they need to help us. They should not, I wouldn't go to the credit union and get a loan for 6.5%. That's commercial interest. 6.5 is commercial interest.
She really told us that. This ain't even on your whole packet, is it?
I know, it's just,
Can we see what, could you come up, because they won't hear you on the recording.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment.
Right here. Right here. All this is the budget.
Here. One thing I wanted to mention about the loan is, I don't think as a municipality, you can just go out and borrow money. You have to follow some of the state laws, and there's a lot of public acts that have to be followed. And I think that this is a means that the state has determined would work for the city of Benton Harbor, because I don't know that you can go out and borrow on your own. So this was, the whole packet and how this is structured was set up by the state of Michigan in a fashion that follows all the public acts and all the legal ease that needs to be followed in a municipality getting a loan. So that's the package you have, okay?
Thank you.
if I can
Thank you for
add to
that. And
that.
so I would like,
The interest rate is a product of the market right now.
Right.
If we had done this 8-10 months ago, we probably wouldn't be paying that kind of interest rate. Would you agree, Rhonda, on that?
Yeah, and I think they put that as the highest amount that it probably will be, but. Because they're gonna go out, and they're gonna go out for an RFP to get banks to bid on loaning money. to the city to get loans.
okay. So, my question is, if our water plant is in a deficit of 1.2 million every year, what is $1 million gonna do for us? And when in the 70s, when the state gave us a loan, we had to tell them exactly what we were spending that money on. Is that the case now? I can't believe that we changed the rules, that now that we don't have to tell them what we're gonna spend the money for. We should have a line item of everything that $1.2 is going to be spent on. And, I haven't seen it. But I know we had to give it to the state, I'm sure, because we did it in the past. I'm not sure, we just did it in the past. So, is that available to us now? What we're actually gonna spend that 1.7 or 2 million, whatever.
City manager?
It's going to be your regular budget that's in front of you as we go through the period. Again, recall how this occurred to begin with. You had basically a budget that was balanced. But then we looked up and suddenly the Court of Appeals overturned the decision that had been made to remove the city and the mayor from the lead line case. The moment that happened, Bodeman had to go back to work, bringing in expert witnesses, taking depositions and whatnot. The legal bills started coming in by the thousands, and before you know it, you're up close to $1 million that was not budgeted. It was not planned for and could not have been foreseen. Likewise, we had a bunch of things that Eagle was requiring be done at the water plant, until I had to say to them, hold it, wait a minute, we don't have the money to do this. We can't do it. You're going to have to change these deadlines that you're giving to us. Then look at insurance. When I first got here, our insurance was about $550,000. All of a sudden, $700 and something thousand. Those were unexpected things that were beyond your control. And what the purpose of this loan is to help you to carry forward paying your regular bills as they're budgeted and whatnot until we can complete the final payments on Bodeman. Most of them are done now, but there's still a significant amount that's still owed to them. And your regular operating expenses until you can get the situation back to where it should be.
All right, can we move the draft budget? Consensus to move the draft budget?
It's just your preliminary.
Okay, yeah.
You haven't gotten final.
Other business, resolution authorizing adoption of ordinance to issue joint revenue bonds for the Benson Harbor St. Joseph Joint Wastewater Treatment. City manager. Speak on that.
The joint wastewater treatment plant, as you will recall, we've come in several times now to approve changes to Benton Township's agreement to extend out 33 years so that it would match the time frame that would be necessary for the borrowing. And we approved ours, changes and so forth to match what was required. They're at the point now where they're moving to issue these joint revenue bonds, and they need the approval of City of Benton Harbor and City of St. Joe, as they're both joint owners in the wastewater treatment facility.
Okay, so we got this agenda and items when? Yesterday? So it's a no for me, because I haven't even fully read over this.
All right, so did you have this memo in here, the bus? Resolution to convey the property as 721 Nate Wales Drive?
Yes, you have already approved a resolution to transfer the property that Harbor Towers is on. We did not do the same thing at that time for Bus Avenue. And there's still some discussions that we're finalizing with housing commissions. It could be some minor additions or changes to this, but we're trying to move this stuff on people's timelines in terms of what they're trying to do. They're trying to close on the funding to get started in June, which is just a couple of weeks away. So just like we're trying to do with all the rest of this, we're trying to meet the timeline requirements that are there.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
just want to point out, I don't think that the address that's on here is correct. 721 Nate Wells Drive, that's the actual housing commission. 942 Bus would be the bus apartment complex. 942 Bus. Yeah, 721 Nate Wells, that's the actual housing commission building.
We'll make those changes.
Remove the RAD. Consensus?
No.
Chair, can I ask a question about
Yeah.
this document? I know we talked about it in committee, and I just want to make sure that the out-of-pocket expense on these bonds that we're getting is going to be, we're going to be able to handle it. A bond is a bond, and I've seen us struggle with bonds before. And
Talking about the loan, Commissioner?
yes, sometimes.
She's talking about the bond for the joint wastewater, the one that we were just on.
It's not a loan, but it's not.
It's tabled, I mean, it's a no anyway, so you got time to look over it and ask questions when he bring it somewhere else. I said no.
Is there a timeline on it, through the chair and the city manager?
There is.
And what is that?
The schedule that everybody's following is called for us to approve it on the 18th meeting.
This month?
We just got it at 10 o'clock last night. What was it last night?
Okay.
Known it was coming for months because that's why we were doing the changes to hours that got approved before, and also the townships.
So, do you know how much money that this, bond and all of these, is gonna cost the city of Benton Harbor?
It's my impression that, if I recall correctly, I believe the bond issue is around 20 million, and that would be paid from the normal fees and so forth that are charged and paid, just like they are right now. We're anticipating a 2.5.
An increase in the fees that, we're charging the citizens?
We're expecting there's going to be a 2.5% increase as of July 1 from the joint wastewater treatment plant. That's going to go to everybody, St. Joe, Benton Harbor, the others that are using it.
And do you know how much that 2.5% increase is going to be for residents?
I don't believe it's going to be very much. I don't recall exactly what, on average, because it's different for each depending upon the amount of water they use.
Well, it's sold by units, am I correct? If you use 1 unit of water, then you use 1 unit of sewer. So, I know how much it costs for 1 unit of water. So what is that 2.5% increase in the sewer?
My impression that the resultant increase will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of less than $1, somewhere around 50, 60 cents.
Okay, so it's a minimum amount. Okay. And
Let me ask you, Rhonda, did you have anything more on that?
No, I don't recall what the rate is on sewer off the top of my head.
well, I know the water, I know how much the water
Yeah.
usually is, and that let me know.
Yeah.
It's- My pocketbook is heavy.
But that's, But that's a good point. Like, if you're bringing something, you should have all the answers and information and anticipate questions.
Okay. Then my last response is, certain names pop out at me that been involved in our failure and our demise. Because it didn't happen just because the commissioners were silly. It happened because people came in and gave us the wrong information and we didn't follow through. So when I see Attorney Miller, Canfield, Paddock, and Stone having some kind of, as a bond counsel for this, it sets up big red flags for me because I saw how Harbor Shores went with Miller, Canfield, Paddock, and Stone. And in how much money when we borrowed all the money from the state, how much money our attorneys got, their attorneys, how much legal got. We borrowed money from the state of Michigan, and we owed the state of Michigan money, so we had to pay the state of Michigan their money too. So it's a vicious cycle when you're poor. And I know it from my own pocketbook, so I have to watch what exactly are these bond councils supposed to do, because I don't trust them because of what they did to us before. So I see that they have some authority, and I'd like to have more information. I just perused this. I didn't get a chance to read it. So I need somebody to give me more information as what authorities this bond council have.
If I might share, this
please.
particular law firm is they specialize in doing bond counsel work for entities all over the state of Michigan, and they've been doing the cities, I believe, for many, many years. I believe they were, Miller Canfield was doing bond work for the city, I believe, even back in the 80s when I was here. Yeah, and, yeah, but they basically only do what's necessary to help you comply with what the laws and rules and so forth are.
I remember they paychecks. How's that working out? So now, if we don't pay attention, history will repeat itself. We all know that, so.
And,
Just bring it to attention that I'm not comfortable, and I need to know more information about what this firm actually have authority with our sewer water plant. So that's a question to the chair, to the city manager, or whoever can answer my question, please help me.
And if I might answer, they're doing for the Joint Sewage Board the same thing that they're doing for us on the loan that we're trying to get put together through the state. Yeah, they're basically preparing the paperwork and so forth to comply with the laws that Treasury and the state of Michigan are going to require to be done. And just any attorney can't do that. They've got to be people that do it on a constant basis and know what's required. And that's what's happening.
Only in America, in South Africa. Thank you.
but for the
Commissioner
record,
Fields.
though, I wasn't in agreement, which was before my time, with Harbor Tower for $1. I remember looking over the information, and they were not required to own the property. It is like, it is preferred, so it was not required, which the conversation and the information that was provided was not stating that accurately or clearly, for that matter. And I don't want to sell any of our properties. And I know when we were at the last Housing Commission, I do know that our city manager did reference like almost, changing it up to some extent so that we can still have some skin in the game in regards to our residents that will be residing in the facilities. And so the properties are valued at what, like 600,000 or so, or to that effect, and we're going to give it to them for $1. And then the reason why I'm saying that, city manager, is because you brought up great points in regards to, and Commissioner Henry made me remember, it was like some of the partners or their own, you can tell the title, I just want to say my part. It was one person that had this company, and then it was, and then somebody with the what is it? How you say it? Because how much is the monies that they're getting, and then how much are they actually spending on the project? So who else is getting the rest of the money? Which was great information you brought up, and that's some of the things that I'm talking about, having details like that and knowing different things so I don't want to make decisions for the city and not have all the information. And I have said, though, I don't know about other commissioners. I have been open-minded to meet, and like when we met the one time, you were like, what do you have in mind? You tell me something to bring me up to speed. I don't know all the questions to ask because I don't know what's in limbo or what you're already working on. And tidbits like how you, and I don't know how it was received, but we won't keep getting into that because that's another situation. But you even emphasizing to them they need to get their own attorney, because the attorney that's a part of it is not for us. It's for the grant process. And, and it just, again, brings Commissioner Henry and even Commissioner Marshall that, Ben Harbor has not been at the best end of situations. People come and present something in a great package, but it's the fine print, like you stressed too.
You're paraphrasing exactly the concerns that I had, but we've been going back and forth, talking with them. We've had the attorney talking with them. The reason I said on these that there could be some changes, we've got another meeting, our attorney and myself, with Alejandro Lara and the attorney for that consultant group. I had a number of concerns, but,
I think you expressed them very well. Like, I was impressed with you on that day in particular, and I don't know, because you said it wasn't vital. I feel like, in my opinion, is how I received that. But I don't think we should give it for $1. I don't. We've had this history of Harbor Tower not being in the best state, and then that's how I got clarity. That's one of the reasons why I ran, is because, remember, I went over there. The whole Facebook Live is down, but it was wet carpet. It was open spaces in the wall where you can see sitting water, residents, one elevator. The small one was the only one working. It's like a handicapped space. It was, the hallways was locked because they come in and, the feces and different things. I know they've done things where security is there now, so it's helped with some stuff, but this was the cry of our residents to us. I looked at the previous news articles like this, it's been years. And so if we're out of the equation because we don't own the grass, then it's a problem. I think it's a disservice to the residents to give it to them.